Okay, so have you ever felt like your boss was like playing mind games with you?
Uh,
It's a weird feeling, right?
yeah.
Like you can't quite put your finger on it,
Right.
but something feels off.
Yeah.
So today we're going to dive deep into some leadership tactics that might be used to, well, kind of undermine employees.
Yeah.
And these come straight from Lincoln Haverford's book, Winning Mindset,
Mm-hmm.
which is a fascinating read.
Oh, yeah.
And by the way, you can find a link to the book in the description below.
Absolutely. So this chapter
Yeah.
on leadership tactics really blew my mind because these tactics are so subtle,
Right.
and on the surface, they seem harmless,
Right.
maybe even beneficial. But underneath, there's like a whole other game going on.
Totally. And Haverford, like, really knows his stuff.
Right. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
He's an expert on power dynamics and leadership strategies.
Yeah.
He's been studying this for years.
Right. So let's jump into the first tactic, which is overpraising. Okay, so we've all had that boss
Right.
who just loves to sing our praises.
Oh, yeah.
It feels amazing at first.
Of course.
You're like, I'm killing it.
You're the best.
I'm a rock star.
Right.
But then you start to notice those like side-eye glances from your colleagues.
Yeah.
And you're like, wait a minute.
Oh,
Is this too much?
what's going on here?
Like, did you ever think those compliments could be a calculated move?
What? Well, it's funny because when you think about it, it's actually a brilliant manipulation.
Explain that.
So as humans, we have this like deep need to belong, right?
Yeah,
To be accepted by the group,
totally.
and by like excessively praising you, a leader can actually start to isolate you from your peers,
Interesting.
creating this weird dynamic where they're almost envious or resentful.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So how do you tell the difference
Oh.
between genuine praise and like this tactic?
Yeah.
Because it feels almost paranoid to be like, wait, are you being fake with me?
Right. I mean, you don't want to question every compliment.
Right.
But it's about paying attention to the context,
Yeah.
So is the praise consistent with your actual performance? Is it
Mhm.
delivered privately, or is it always a public spectacle?
Right.
Like, are they trying to show off?
Yeah.
And most importantly, how does it make you feel?
Okay.
If you start sensing tension or isolation, that's a huge red flag.
That's good advice.
Yeah,
It really makes you think twice about those compliments.
for sure.
All right, so the next one is creating a rival.
Ooh.
And I have a story about this one.
Okay.
But before I jump in,
Yeah,
can you just like set the stage a little bit?
absolutely. So this tactic is like straight out of the playbook of Divide and Conquer.
Okay.
By introducing a competitor, a leader can tap into our innate drive to like prove ourselves to be the best.
Yeah.
But instead of fostering healthy competition, it often creates this anxiety-ridden environment
Oh, yeah.
where everyone is constantly looking over their shoulder.
Absolutely. So I had this coworker who was brought in to support me on a project,
Okay.
but it quickly became this unspoken rivalry.
Right.
We were both like vying for the same opportunities, the same recognition.
Yeah.
It's exhausting.
It's like a constant battle.
Yeah,
And the worst part is it preys on our insecurities.
totally.
It makes us question our own value, our own abilities.
Right.
And instead of like collaborating and working towards a shared goal,
Yeah.
we get caught in this zero-sum game
Right.
where one person's success means the other person fails.
It's so frustrating.
It is.
So what can you do if you find yourself in that situation?
Well, first you have to recognize that it's a tactic being used on you.
Right.
Don't take the bait.
Okay.
Focus on your own goals, your own contributions.
Yeah.
And remember, collaboration is almost always more effective
Right.
than cutthroat competition.
I love that rise above the fray.
Exactly.
Okay, so the next tactic is training a newcomer,
Oh, interesting.
which on the surface sounds like a positive thing, right?
Yeah, you get to mentor someone, share your knowledge.
Yeah, you feel like a senior member of the team.
Right.
But Haverford warns that it can be a clever way for a leader to either replace you
Yeah.
or set you up to take the fall.
Ooh, that's sneaky.
Right. So explain that a little more.
Okay, so imagine you train this newcomer really well, right?
Mm,
They become proficient in your role.
yeah.
Suddenly you're expendable.
Oh.
Or let's say the newcomer makes some mistakes.
Oh.
Who gets blamed?
Right.
The experienced employee who was supposed to be training them.
It's like the classic scapegoat scenario.
Exactly.
Wow, I never thought about it like that.
Yeah, it's something to be aware of.
So how do you protect yourself if you're asked to train someone?
Documentation is key.
Okay.
Keep a detailed record of your training process, their progress, any feedback you give, and don't be afraid to communicate openly with your leader about your concerns.
Right.
Transparency is crucial.
All right, taking notes.
Good.
Okay, this next one is especially sneaky. And I think a lot of people have experienced this without even realizing it's happening.
What is it?
It's called undermining talent.
I haven't heard this one.
So this is where a leader deliberately assigns tasks that are beneath your skill set.
Oh, wow.
So you're busy,
Okay.
but you're not challenged.
Right.
It's a way to stifle your growth, keep you from shining too brightly.
Why would a leader do that?
I know, right? You would think they'd want their employees to be performing at their highest potential.
Exactly. Sometimes a leader might feel threatened by a talented employee, especially if they perceive them as a potential rival.
Right.
Or they might simply want to maintain the status quo.
Yeah.
And your growth disrupts that.
It's almost like they're intimidated.
In a way, yeah.
So what do you do if you feel like this is happening to you?
Well, first be honest with yourself.
Okay.
Are you genuinely being challenged in your role? Are you learning and growing?
Yeah.
If not, it might be time to have a conversation with your leader about your career goals and aspirations.
Right.
And if they're not receptive, it might be time to start looking for opportunities that will allow you to truly thrive.
Wow. Okay, so speaking of not thriving,
Yeah.
let's talk about assigning complex or excessive tasks.
Okay, this one's the classic.
Yeah.
It's classic overwhelm.
Right.
You're either given tasks that are way too complicated, setting you up for failure, or you're just buried under an impossible workload.
Oh, yeah.
It's a way to keep you off balance, stressed, and prone to making mistakes.
I remember this one time.
Yeah.
I had 5 projects all due on the same day.
Oh, my God.
I was pulling all-nighters running on fumes.
That's awful.
It was a nightmare.
And that's exactly the point.
Right.
When you're constantly in this state of overwhelm, you're not able to think clearly.
Yeah.
You're more likely to make errors.
Right.
And then guess what?
What?
The leader can use those mistakes against you, further solidifying their control.
Okay, I'm starting to get a little paranoid here.
I know it's a lot to take in.
Yeah, but it's good stuff to know.
Absolutely.
All right, so what about divide and conquer?
Ah, yes. This one's a classic.
It sounds like something out of a history book.
It is. It's an age-old tactic, but still incredibly effective.
So how does it work?
It's all about fostering conflict within a team.
Okay.
Pitting people against each other, encouraging gossip, highlighting differences, creating this atmosphere of distrust.
So the leader benefits from the chaos.
Absolutely. They get to maintain control without having to directly intervene.
Wow.
They can even position themselves as the peacemaker.
Oh my God.
The one who swoops in to resolve the conflicts they themselves created.
It's so Machiavellian. It's giving very Mean Girls vibes.
Right.
Okay, on to scarcity competition. I'm curious to hear about this one.
So this is where a leader creates an environment of artificial scarcity, making people compete for limited resources, rewards, or recognition.
Interesting.
Haverford gives this really fascinating example of a professor who assigns the same research project to 2 PhD students, but only promises to publish one of their papers.
Oh my gosh, that is so messed up.
Can you imagine the pressure?
Yeah.
The animosity between those students?
Right.
And that's precisely the point.
Right.
The leader benefits from this cutthroat competition. They get to choose the winner, and they pit talented people against each other, often extracting more effort from them than they would otherwise.
It's all about maximizing their own gain.
Exactly.
Even if it comes at the expense of their employees' well-being.
Unfortunately, yes.
Okay, last but not least, we have holding grudges.
Ooh, this one's personal.
It is?
It's about using past mistakes as leverage.
Okay.
You know, a leader might seem like they've forgiven a past error, but then they bring it up later. Usually when you're challenging their authority or disagreeing with them.
It's like they're keeping a file of all your missteps.
Exactly.
Waiting for the perfect moment to use it against you.
Right. It's a way to keep you in line, to make you think twice before speaking up or rocking the boat.
It creates this culture of fear and silence.
Yes.
Which ultimately benefits no one.
Exactly.
Well, this deep dive has been enlightening.
Yeah.
If a little terrifying.
It's a lot to take in.
It is. So what's the biggest takeaway for our listeners?
I think the most important thing is awareness.
Okay.
By understanding these tactics, you can start to recognize them in your own workplace.
Right.
Be observant, be critical, and don't be afraid to ask questions. And remember, you always have the power to set boundaries to advocate for yourself.
Yeah.
And to create a work environment that is healthy, respectful, and supportive.
Such great advice. And for those of you who want to delve even deeper into these tactics,
Yes.
we have a link to Lincoln Haverford's book, Winning Mindset, in the video description below.
A must read.
Absolutely. And don't forget to share your thoughts and experiences in the comments below.
Yeah, let us know.
Have you encountered any of these tactics?
What strategies have you used to deal with challenging leadership?
Let's keep the conversation going.
Absolutely.
Until next time, stay sharp and stay informed.
See you next time.
Bye.
Bye.